Wes, you're looking pretty good.
I'll take that. I mean, pretty good. Even though it had a little bit of a pause there, I'll take it.
I had to think about it for a minute. I didn't want to get over, I mean, we just told Jared off screen that he looked good today, and I'm just like a little bit too many people looking good. I don't like it. So
yeah, that's great. No, I'll take pretty good. That's that's a lot better than some of the things I've been called. So,
well, sometimes I'll say, hey, around the house, say, hey, baby, I'm looking pretty good, huh? So, huh? What? Thank you, appreciate that. Anyways, this is a fun one today because we're going to do a mini rack and stack, and the first one is somebody that we'll have on a million times, and is our friend Jared from America Builds Better. He's a business guy. He's a city councilman or something, big shot in town. He's a podcaster with America Builds Better. Owns a couple building companies, and probably my favorite thing about him is he's just a cool dude, man.
No, he is. And you and I have spoke about this a million times, and that is almost nobody other than you walks around and does videos and does the embracing technology and that hybrid lifestyle. And I cannot say that about Jared. So that is awesome.
He does it. And he makes me build. I'm having to up my game because of him, which I'm a little dissatisfied with. We might discuss that. He needs to back up a little bit because he's starting to make me look bad. So,
here's the thing: when you want to learn tennis, you don't get the kid down the street. You get somebody that's going to wear you out. Yeah, so that's good. Yes. If you're the smartest guy in the room, you need a new room. So I'm glad that he's challenging you.
He is, and I never have a problem with that, Wes, being the smartest guy in the room. So.
you and me both.
I just walk in and I'm comfortable. I'm going to learn something. But so you know what? Let's just go get Jared. I mean, he's got probably something else to do today. So let's go riff with my man.
You got it.
Boom! Is that cool or what?
What's up, dude? Man, I always love your intros, Randy.
Well, Wes gets all the credit for that.
Oh, I'm gonna go with you. Yeah, I'm still feeling the hair today, but that's all right, man.
That's all right. I mean, it'll. I'll tell you what. It's okay for the vlog part. It'll be way better on the audio podcast.
That's right. They can't see me on the audio podcast, so
that's right.
We're probably doing all right there. We'll hide both of our mugs. How's that?
That's right. So, how you been, man? I mean, it's like just days since we dined together in York and hung out with the folks from Shield Wall, and now we're back at I say the real world, but I kind of like that world a little better than I don't know about anything else I do sometimes. You too?
I'll tell you what, man. I'm recovering. Right, we spent several days there, had a great time. Actually visited with some clients on the way back. So the trip got extended. So I actually was out of the office for a week, and that is not normal for me. So catching up, it's now Thursday the following week, and I'm still catching up. I swear.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you, the trade shows, man, you got the lock on the trade shows, but man, what a great time. What an absolutely great time.
It was a great time. And everything about last week was just amazingly great, other than when I got to Baltimore way early to begin with, because the people I was with, they all had earlier flights. And I always book myself as the later if I'm with a group, because I never want to be that guy that's pushing. And I also don't want to be that guy that's like getting nervous, like, okay, I'm going to leave without you because I get nervous about it. So. And then my flight got delayed. And then we got on the plane, and then storms came in Baltimore. And the good news was the storms are clearing. But the bad news is storms in Fort Myers around the same time that we'd get there. So we're all just sitting on a plane for 2.5, almost 3 hours on the tarmac. So that was.
You know me, brother. I don't fly. So you were getting in as I was getting in, but I was on a 7-hour drive. So I was hustling to get there because we had a dinner scheduled. And I was trying to make it.
Yeah, there you go.
I was trying to make it on time. So we enjoyed some really fine food too. So
yes,
I had the lobster roll, and you had the lobster mac. So we enjoyed that, man. It was the best food I ate in York. I have to tell you.
Oh, that was good. Yeah, what was we at Rockfish?
Rocket Fish Public House. Rocket Fish Public House. Yeah. So if you're in York, Pennsylvania, which actually, honestly, I had a great time, man. What a thriving little downtown, and just a great time.
It
Great
was.
choice by Gary and the team at Shieldwall. That was a great location for that.
That was a great location. Yeah, you're right. It was easy to get downtown. A lot of great restaurants, walkable, and
Yeah, super
I hit
walkable.
several. And
Yeah,
so,
for sure. We
you
hit
know,
several that last night, I think.
yeah, well, several in a night. That's usually my mode.
Yeah,
I count how
yeah.
successful an evening was how many different places did I visit that evening, and I
True
don't.
story.
We didn't let ourselves down at all. But so, you know, coming off of York, yeah, I got a question for you.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
what do you see when you're at shows like this last week that's good happening in what we're doing now? And I don't mean necessarily the industry itself, but we can go there.
Sure.
And what do we need to do better as an industry? And not picking anybody in particular unless there's somebody we don't like, and then we'll just throw darts at them.
No,
But
no, I think everybody that was there did a great job.
they
I
did.
think I think maybe we'll start with the bads, right? So the bads is for your trade show setups, keep them fresh. I'm seeing a lot of the same type of vibe from everybody.
Hmm.
And not that every trade show is the exact same or the audience is the exact same, but I'm talking about years now, right? Years where you've had the same setup, refreshen up a little bit, change it up a little bit. I know that setup's not always the cheapest thing in the world, but from somebody who's been doing this now for several years, pretty consistently, every show hit. Um, get some new stuff, even if it's just a new business card or flyer or something. Drive that vibe. I mean, your business doesn't stay the same, right? My business
Right.
sure doesn't stay the same. I think that'd be my call to action for the bad. The good, man, I'll tell you, so many new faces, so many new products. Um, I'll tell you, the technology side of things is really starting to excite me, Randy. I mean, you know how I feel about that stuff anyways,
Yes.
but getting to a trade show and getting to see and talk to people who are excited about it. I really feel like we're starting to take that leap, right? I feel like we're collectively as an industry, to go there, we're finally seeing that technology is not our enemy. If we
Right.
embrace it and we take it on as, a tool in the toolbox, I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be sometimes.
Oh, I think you're 100% right, and that is exciting to see. And back to your original comment, I think you're so right because, uh, and it's in my mind because, as you know, I'm just finishing up right now in final edits my second book, The Closure Seven, with Ben Gay. Uh,
Yeah.
and I'm talking about trade shows right in there. So
Yeah.
it's always fresh in my mind. And one of the things I talk about in there, which fits so well there, so thank you for the segue you didn't know he was going to
Yeah,
give me, for the shameless self promotion that I'll do anyways.
that's okay.
And not to mention that it's my show, so everybody just listen. Anyway, is that, you know, trade shows build upon each other, and you have new people. But it's one of the things I talk about in there, and I'd love to hear your opinion on it, Jared. But you're at trade show last week in York, and one of the last things you're saying to people is, "Hey, we'll see you in a few weeks or a couple 3 months in Gatlinburg, and then are we going to see you in Columbus, Ohio for the NFBA show? Hey, you
Yeah.
going to MetalCon, right?"
Yeah.
So you see a lot of these same people. So those relationships don't just
Yeah.
start in York and end in York, right? And they shouldn't.
That's right. That's
So
right.
back to your point, if you look the same all the time, it's almost easy to, oh yeah, I know Jared's stuff. I know what he does. I don't have time. I may come back. Well,
That's
no,
right.
you may
That's
not,
right. And I
right?
mean, I find myself saying that for things, when I go to a trade show, there are certain booths that, having a metal building company, having a pole barn company, I have to find time to go visit the things that I need to interact with, right? And, I mean, not calling anybody out, but if you have components, let's say you're selling windows or doors or fasteners, you know, I know you've got newer windows, newer fasteners, newer roll-up door, whatever it is. Like, and I know it's not always the easiest thing to change that stuff out. So don't take this as a criticism, take it as a motivation for just a plan in the future, right? There's
Correct.
always something new that you can bring along to give people an enticement to come see you in the first place. And I
Right.
think the other thing that I would really call to action, right? Call to action moment. if you're going to a trade show, share that outward with your audience, wherever that audience may be, whether it be social media, your website. I have to give a really cheap plug for Drip Stop. They do a good job at that, and they had a new display with like it had a physical, like almost like a lean-to type presentation. They did really well. Whatever they're doing over there, those guys are doing a great job, and I really appreciated seeing that. Right, different booth sizes on different shows and having a different setup. If you're spending the money to go to these trade shows, make it worth your while, and make sure that the team you send, if you're a business owner, make sure that they know your product inside and out. I think that's probably the only other feedback I'll give, is that send your best to the trade shows. I understand it's hard to give up your best sales guys for a couple of days, but man, you're going to close sales on the sales floor. That's the reason they're going.
Right. Well, exactly. And to your point, a lot of people, you hear it all the time, not all the time, but you hear people say, man, this trade show sucked. That was awful. Didn't get anything out of it. What did you do to be ready for it? And I had a conversation with somebody there. Again, I will mention no names at all, but it was a great conversation and a positive conversation. He said, it's kind of slow. Yeah, I didn't think I had enough people, blah, blah. I said, what did you do prior to the show? What do you mean? What did you do? I got stuff packed and came to the show and set up. Then it's your fault. I said, being brutally honest, if you ask my honest opinion, the show people can only do so much to bring people to the show. And I think most shows, Shield Wall, you and I are both pretty active with working with Gary on things. I'm very active with the NFBA, being on the board. So I see a lot of the backroom stuff.
That's right.
But it's still, at the end of the day, as show people, we can only do so much to drag somebody in. What are you doing for yourself? Like you said, if you're going to be there and spend thousands of dollars to be there, all the booths, shipping, free, hotels, dinners, all that stuff, and your arrival at the show is, oh, it just started. I guess I better leave my coffee and get over to the show floor, right? And you walk in and go, hey, nobody. You've already lost, right? A large opportunity. What say you?
That's right.
I think that.
I think that's pretty common, right? I mean, and we see it a lot, right? We see people not at their booths when the expo floor opens. Obviously, the number one time is when the doors open. Right. I mean, that's almost for every single trade show there is. There's going to be a lull midday, especially when it's a full day trade show where there's no like real expo floor break. There's going to be a lull midday. That's when you grab your extra coffee or fill up your donut box or whatever it is you're eating. And, that's when it's time to take a break, is when there's not as many people there. There were plenty of people at the show. And what I'll do is I'll give Gary and the team at Shield Wall huge credit. They give all of the exhibitors free passes. Right. So if you're not passing out 50, 100, I mean, just putting that out in a mass mailer to your client list or putting it out on social media, that's what it's for, and at the end of the day, they've been marketing that event for the last 4 or 5 months. Right.
Exactly.
I mean, we did a whole series of podcasts. You did several podcasts hyping it up. I mean, we're getting it out to the people. And if you're an exhibitor, you should be sharing it with your audience. Invite your client to come. It's a great time. And by the way, when you go to a Shield Wall show, if you bring them in on the first day, they're going to get access to that little shindig, that little food fest. Exactly. And boy, wasn't the food good. You know what I mean? Yeah, like, hey, come share a meal with me and talk about my products. Right. I want you to come join me. To me, it's an open invitation, and it doesn't cost you anything.
Exactly. And that promotion like that, and like you said, I have free passes. All you've got to do is call me. And, and you can, depending on what your personality is, you or I would say, I'll tell you what, Jared, I'm going to send you 2 free passes, but you better show up at my booth for a couple minutes.
That's right. That's right.
You make it fun. You make it interesting, right? It's a good, but that would be a challenge that I would throw out to anybody.
At the end of the day, if you're thinking to yourself, well, if I ask them, they're not going to come, you still might get a phone call in with them. You still might get their phone number or an email and a follow-up. I mean, these are people that you're trying to sell to. I mean, everyone is selling all the time, period.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, in this industry especially, post-frame buildings, metal buildings, sheds, whatever it is you're doing, you're trying to sell something, whether it be a component or a physical building. It doesn't much matter. And that's where, like, for me in my heart, it's, I was trying my very best to get our clients to come. Now I understand, people travel, all that stuff, but still, if you could get 2 clients in the door that are warm on your product or your service or et cetera, that's 2 more closes you could have, and you can have a shake and howdy with them. It's easy.
Exactly.
It's easy.
Exactly.
It gets you into a neutral environment where the customer doesn't have to feel like they're going to be sold to, and it gives them a good time. And I think that's, I like that about Gary's show. A lot of the trade shows are free, and Gary charges, and that's okay. But he gives the exhibitors free passes, so nobody should really be paying. We should just be inviting our clients to come and hang out with us.
Exactly.
It should be a big hangout. So
it should be. And when we do that, we the results that you can tell a trade show where you spent the extra upfront work versus the one that, and believe me, I made all these mistakes we're talking about. I've been doing this forever. I was the, oh, it's lunchtime, but now I got time for another beer before I run over. And you show up at the show floor 47 minutes after it opened. You missed the rush. You missed all the original excitement. Because why? Because back in that day, Randy said, it's just a dumb show. Nobody's going to come anyways. It's going to be useless, and I'm going to get nothing out of it. I'm just wasting time and drinking beer with my buddies. Well, that's right. I don't have time for that anymore.
That's
Nor
right.
do I want to take time for that.
You have to grow up a little bit because we're still learning the ropes, right? I mean, we've been only doing trade shows for 5 or 6 years now with the different businesses. And, the thing about it is, for me, like a tech tip or a teaching tip from me right now, get there when you can set up the first day.
Yes.
Don't make the mistake I made this time. I cut my time. Now, I would have been there on time to set up the first day, but I got stuck in traffic. If I would have allowed myself 2 or 3 more hours, I wouldn't have had to set up that morning. You don't want to set up the morning of the expo. Let me tell you, you do not want to be the person setting up, because I'll tell you, business to business conversation at these shows matters just as much as anything else. And when you're not set up and you're not in the room with all of these people as they're setting up and you're sharing that experience together, it's like, I might want to come over and check your product out while I'm actually setting my booth up. I've actually had some of the best conversations that I've had at trade shows with other business owners that want to utilize my services, or I might want to utilize theirs.
Right.
And that was a big miss for me. I'll go ahead and say I'm guilty as charged. I did not get set up prior to the day of the show, and that was a huge mistake. That was a huge mistake on my part. So learn from me.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm a big believer in that. Never. The first day, the day before, in my opinion, is one of the most valuable days, especially,
no kidding,
especially if you're a B2B guy, especially if you have other, like in my case, I have several, depending on the show, anywhere from 1 to 5 manufacturers at a show that I'm representing.
Yep.
But we have maybe 30 people there at the show that are customers of mine or potential customers of mine. And so, like you said, you want to catch those opportunities. You want to walk by and joke about, going, it's hot in here. You think they might turn air on someday, right? You start a conversation, you do those things. But when you get in the day before, you've already turned your mindset to show mode. And you've also had, I love a show where I've already had 5 good conversations, maybe 7 good conversations before the ribbon cutting or whatever it is, the band plays, whatever you do, because you got there early and you did the things. And one of the other areas, and I know you'll speak to this well, but there's always events off the show floor, the educationals, the talks, the panels, the whatever those are. Almost every show has them.
That's
and so many people, why don't you go learn something? None of us know everything. You are close, but none of us know everything, right? But secondarily, around the little donuts and coffee and croissants and everything else is where everybody's gathering. They're waiting in anticipation for whatever little talk they're going to go to. There's no pressure. There's no, I'm here as Randy, the sales guy, trying to sell you something. I'm doing turn that badge around. New York. Hey, I don't think I know you. We need to know each other, right? You have those conversations that are invaluable, and you can then turn those right into, you know what? I got to run. I know you got to run. I'm in booth 703. What's your cell phone number? I'll text you whatever you do. You can be way ahead of the show before the show even starts, right?
And it's really important for those who are B2B, right? because you're going to
Yes.
see people you recognize. That is a very, very strong tip for, I went with my marketing company. So we do marketing, for pole buildings and sheds and stuff like that. And I went as the podcast. We were, helping Gary hype the with the
Mm-hmm.
podcast over the last several weeks. But I can tell you, man, if you're not interacting at those breakout sessions, if you're not trying to find the right person to sit next to, everything matters. I'm telling you, every moment matters, and every moment you don't take is an opportunity lost. It really is. I
Exactly.
mean, honestly, Randy and I, Gary and I, a lot of the connections that I have that I lean on every day of my life came from trade shows, came from just being forward, being polite, being friendly, being willing to learn when I needed to and still do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have so much to learn, and
And we
that
all
all
do.
came from interactions on the trade show floor. I mean, honestly, the relationship I have with Gary has been a really good one for me. I've learned a lot from that guy,
Mm-hmm.
and he is great for myself and the industry and you. He's just a solid guy to be around. And I can tell you, it all started at one of his shows. I was nobody to him, and because I have that personality, that this sticky nature in me that's like, I want to learn from you. I like you, Randy. I mean, honestly, I think we met at a trade show.
We did, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, there you go. And we've done a handful of podcasts together. We've hung out, we've broke bread.
Yep.
We're working on all kinds of cool stuff. And
Exactly.
then a relationship like this can be birthed from what you deem as a bad show. Like, think about that.
Exactly.
Was that show as crowded as it could have been? Probably not. But how many exhibitors gave out tickets? I
Right.
mean, honestly, ask yourself that question. What did you do to get people there?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I mean, to me, I thought it was just fine. I had a great time. I thought there were plenty of people there. I don't want things to be overcrowded. We've both been at shows where you're elbow to elbow with people, and that's not good either.
No,
There's a
no.
happy balance. And I always feel like, and I've said this, I always feel like the traffic at the Shield Wall shows is the right traffic when you utilize it properly. If you're
Well,
not
that is
working
key.
it, if you're not
Well, that is
working it,
key. You're not working it. You're not if you're not getting something out of it, you're not working it. And I
that's
think
right.
another area that you made me think of while he's talking, Jared, is we go. I'm going to challenge people to think about this for a minute. Most people are trained or brought up in the industry to think that a trade show is to prospect and meet this new customer that you never knew before.
Yep.
That's part of it. And
Yep.
it's an important part of it. But it's also cementing relationships with existing customers or
That's right.
rekindling a relationship with this guy that just never became a customer yet, but you'd sure love him to be.
That's right.
And every time you have the opportunity to have a coffee, grab a beer, go share a nacho, whatever it is one more way to either cement that relationship. And what I like about it is you're cementing it, and you touched on it earlier, Jared. You're cementing it in a non-threatening location. I'm not in your office as Randy, the sales guy. I'm kind of here at the end of the day trying to sell you something. I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm just glad to see you. I want to grab a nacho and a beer, right?
Yeah.
And those things you can build so many of the old relationships and keep the old relationships by using shows too. So I would challenge people, don't always judge a show on how many new leads do you get. Because number one, I don't like the badge bandit thing. I think I wrote something about that a while ago, but it's like the people that want to 13 and a half seconds into somebody walking up, here, let me shoot your badge. Well, and then they think they're done.
That's right.
Did you have a conversation? Do you even need to shoot their badge? I mean, maybe they have nothing to do with what you want. Let's just figure it out first, right?
Man. Yeah, you're not there to just capture leads.
Right.
You can do that through classic lead gen. You can do that every day in your business. You're there to create relationships. You're there to create memorable moments for people, and that includes yourself.
Hey friends, it's Randy here, the owner of Source One Marketing, iBuyFromRandy.com, and I got to tell you, we are proud to sponsor the Building Wins Live podcast, and vlogcast. We have 4+ decades in this beautiful industry of supplying materials, supplying services, supplying marketing assistance, and we just are proud to sponsor Building Wins Live and some great guests that we have every single week. Many of them from our beloved industry and many of them from outside the industry that still bring some incredible content. So make sure to check us out at ibuyfromrandy.com and let us know what you think about this show. For now, thanks for checking this out. Let's get back to the show.
And I'm really glad that you said that, because that is one of the things that drives me nuts. Badge bandits. I'm gonna start calling it that. You know, to me, it's like I don't know that I want you to have my information, to be completely honest with you. You know, I don't know that your service or product or whatever is going to be relevant for me. And have you qualified me? You know, and you know, for us, we've got several partners that we work with pretty closely. And one of the things I really like about the trade shows is that when you go in with a game plan, you can be with the people that you can't always be with as well. You know, you get to see people like one of our partners' idea rooms in Boise, Idaho. I'm in Ohio. I don't ever get to see those guys. You know, I never get to hang out with them. Same thing with Smart Build. They're out in Colorado. You know, I don't get to go out to Colorado or Idaho. It's not on my drive list, right? And you get to hang out with people and, again, creating really what becomes lifelong partnerships and relationships with people. And it's important. It's important for your business to do that. And I see so many people just go through the motions. I think that's, you know, as we head into roll forming, construction roll forming show, we got Shed Expo, we've got NFBA next year. Like, there's all these shows coming up. Listen, now's the time to start making the plans to do better next time. If you feel like you didn't get a win, do better.
Right.
You know, like me, show up earlier. I can tell you, I'm serious. I sweated it. I was literally out in the front of that expo center there trying to get my banner up while people are walking by. And that was making me sick. It was making me want to just throw up because I'll tell you, I mean, those are people that I could have chit-chatted with, made a conversation with, had a moment together. And instead I have my back to them.
Right.
And that's, I mean, that was not something I was happy about. I mean, learn from me. We are not perfect,
but you learn
far from it.
Oh, believe me, I've made swinging back to the Closer 7 coming up. I write in there a lot about mistakes I made. It's not all about, hey, look at Randy, he's pretty smart, and look at all this great stuff he's done. I lay some things out where I've just plain bombed it, man. You know, because that's how you learn, right? You screwed up, you made mistakes, and
and being willing to admit your mistakes is how you learn from them. Right.
Yes.
If you always go through life and you're looking at it like, well, I had the best time ever, it was great. You know, that's not the way to be either. There's a fine balance between the show was absolutely terrible and it was the best show of all time. You have to really assess and really look at yourself and go inside and behind the curtain and say, what did I do right and what did I do wrong? And how do I want to do better next time? You can always do better. I don't care if you close the biggest deal you've ever had. You could close a bigger one next time. Right. It just tells you that you're capable, right? And that's what I come out of these, you know, I try to assess, I try to do a self-evaluation. I continue to go back to having a structure going into the show is important, leaving yourself open time slots for people that may want to grab a drink afterwards or go grab a meal. You know, it's funny with trade shows, I think we've joked about it before. It's like, how many dinners are we going to have? Right. You know, our dinner was backed up against another dinner, you know, and I couldn't say no to that group, and they're waiting for me to get done with my dinner with you and Gary. Right. And it's like, you know, how many dinners are we going to have? I guess as many as it takes, right? Well, you know, you work through the night. You work through the night. I mean, I think we punch out about midnight at these shows, something like that. Well,
it's because if you use the show for what it should be for, which is an incredible opportunity, then it's not just to many it is, and it shouldn't be.
That's right.
Not just a place to be out of town for 3 days and hang with your buddies and drink some beers. That's part of it. But is there a mission involved? Is there a reason involved? And you know what? If the reason is I'm having a couple of beers with a couple of rep buddies from around the country that I only see once a year, then that's a good reason. Because you're building relationships. Somebody can help you. You can help them. But and it comes back to an area that I believe a lot, and I'll say it to anybody that'll ever listen, which is you got to live in the industry, not off the industry. Too many people live off it. They just want to make money off it. They don't want to give. They don't want to live in the industry. Living in the industry is what we just did last week, which is, except for you, you showed up late. But anyway, you know, don't let me have a chance
Don't
to
worry,
bust your
I was
chops.
powwowing on the way. I was
know you were.
powwowing with a couple
Fair
partners,
enough.
and I'll
Fair
tell
enough.
you,
But you
man.
know, get there early, stay late, be
right.
be visible, be out
That's
there,
right.
and because if you don't, you will get exactly what you say. Most people, most shows, and some are better than others, and that's fair. But most people that go, I got nothing from the show. It was just terrible. That's you. I'm sorry. Go look in the mirror and point at the person that's at fault. That's you. You could have got something, right?
I agree.
May
I
not
agree
have been
with
as
that.
much as others, but you could have got something if you simply had planned, had promoted the show, promoted you're going to be there, promote while you're there, promote after you're there. And it's something, I'm speaking of the choir because you do it so well, but the show is like content, right? We talk about doing some of the stuff that we do. You talk about repurposing content, right?
Right.
A good trade show, you've got stuff to repurpose. It shouldn't end the day you leave the show.
That's right.
And I also love the theory, and let's talk about this for a minute, and then I'll let you get out of here. When's Gary's next show start in South Bend? Last week when we left. That's when it starts. That's when we start. He's starting already. Him and Missy and Keem are back there starting that
They're
show.
already working. They were planning it. While we were at the show.
So why aren't we doing the same thing?
That's right. I mean, and that's what I'm getting at, right? Is like, they're coming up. So for us, for me specifically, I have construction roll forming in September. I have Shed Expo in September. I have NFBA next year in Columbus. That's going to be a big one for us because it's in our home state. So we're obviously trying to make waves and make impacts there, and we're making those plans now. If you're not making a plan on where to be, who to be with, and how you're going to be doing it, then you're not doing it right. I'm telling you.
Exactly.
I went into this trade show very focused on having time allotted for everyone I wanted to meet with, having pre-scheduled meetings for afterwards and before. And, what I looked at, like with our dinner, I didn't know what to expect, right? I went into that as like, that was my private time. I wanted to break away. Like, there's going to be a need. If you're really hustling, you've got to find a time to balance it as well, because you can't be on 24/7. Nobody can, not even me and Randy. We try awfully hard, but you have to find some downtime where you can turn it down a notch, recharge the batteries for a couple minutes, and get right back into it. The problem is you can't leave the expo floor at 5 o'clock, go straight to the hotel and go to bed.
Right.
You're going to lose. I mean, I'm just telling
absolutely.
you, you're going to lose. So.
Yes. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Jared, as always, is great. Finally, Wes loves he loves the SAQs, the should ask questions. When you run into people at trade shows or you're out and about, what you're doing on your podcast, America Builds Better, which, by the way, follow this, folks. Great show. Love it. But what do you wish people would ask Jared Ledford that they just don't? What's the one question they should just ask you? Next time you go to a show, what do you want 20 people to come up and ask you?
I want people to stop asking me about money. I'll say that's the question you shouldn't ask me about. I would say, for me personally, what can you do to make yourself better tomorrow? And I'd love to know more about what you're doing, whether it's your business, your service, or whatever. I'd love to help you do something better tomorrow. We always in the show get out in the community and do something good for somebody else. It'll make you feel better. And I can tell you, you repped me a little bit about city council and stuff. I love that. And I am an encyclopedia of free knowledge. I give it out. If you need help, hit me up. I'm happy to help. I don't want people in the industry, you said it, living off the industry. I can't stand that. It drives me nuts because people come and go. They absolutely come and go because they come in, the people that do, and the people who can't teach. When I get on my podcast, it's from a point of perspective on what I do, and it doesn't necessarily reflect on everybody. I had somebody call me out recently on one of my clips was talking about sketching down drawings for buildings. And I didn't mean it in a way that was meant any sort of way to say you can't sketch a building. But what I meant to say, and I thought I made it pretty clear, was that when you're sketching a building for a customer, you need to have a professional presentation to present that sketch to a customer, not a chicken scratch piece of, drawing on a napkin. And that's, to me, I want to help you do better tomorrow. And I wish more people would just come up and say, look, this is who I am. This is what I do. What do you think I should do to make myself better tomorrow?
Love that.
And I might have a perspective for you. I might.
Yeah. But if not,
That's
you
what I
made a
want to
new
say.
friend. And the thing is, if nothing else, you made a new friend. You got a new perspective a little bit.
Friends.
And
Love
making
meeting
friends.
people. And I can tell you, Randy and I both, even with the podcast and whatever presence you think we may or may not have, Randy's one of the nicest guys in the world. He's never going to not want to talk. He's never not going to want to shake and howdy or have a Dr. Pepper with you or whatever it is, right? Same thing with me. Don't be hesitant because you feel like I am no better than anybody else. Trust me. I sell metal buildings, pole barns, and sheds. I work a lot. I do marketing. I've got 3 kids that I love. I live the same life struggles as everybody else. And if you can share some of that with somebody else and take a little bit of burden off their day, that's how you get out in your community to do something better for somebody else. And it makes me feel better. And it'll make you feel better too.
And I love that you end your show that way. I think it's great. And speak about, hitting it off when you have personalities where you want to meet, you want to know, you want to grow. I remember the first time we met at a trade show, but the first time we met, I guess that makes sense, was in your office.
Yeah, you came.
And I walked in.
To the shop. You sure did.
I called you. We sat back in your back room and for 30, 45 minutes, and I left with a new good friend.
That's
in
right.
that short period of time, right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
That's what you do. You do that every day, everywhere.
And you put yourself out there. And there again, that live by Randy's example. Randy met me at a trade show and showed up in my office. Yep. We have rapped so many times since then, had many good conversations, shared a couple Dr. Peppers together, right? And here we are, moving down the road to the next trade show, having the next conversation. Yep. And that's what it's all about, man. Like, if Randy had been having a bad day that day, we wouldn't even be here talking, right? Yeah. And we don't have bad days. We try not to.
No, you try not to, and it's very easy when you got those sort of things. I remember when I came to your office, you got the phone calls, you got the problem to deal with, you got this, you got that, you got the good things, you got the bad. That's life, and that's every day, right? It's pretty easy to have, because we had met once at a trade show, kind of liked each other, thought we should get together, but it would have been easy for you to call me and say, you know what, I'm really tied up, I just can't make it today. Could have been easy for me to just send you a quick text, hey, Jared, I'm gonna have to try to do this next time. It could have been just because I didn't want to.
That's right.
Right. So, but you make the extra step. And I think the last parting words is, we're in sales. And I say that to everybody because everybody's in sales, right? We all talk about that.
Yep.
Sales is not a 9-to-5 job. It's a lifestyle.
That's right.
You and I, you hit on it earlier. Sometimes you got to actually, if you're really in the game and love it, you have to find time to take the break away from it.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah, that's it. You have to. If you don't, you will burn out. I've watched the best sales reps I've ever had. And if they don't take a break, the lifespan on them is like 2 years.
Right.
If you don't find time to take your vacation, if you don't find time to, trade shows an example, right? Find that hour to go spend by yourself and recharge your batteries, but get right back in the game, right? It's always about being out there and putting yourself out there. People buy from people they know, like, trust, and feel safe with. I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't share that with the audience because you shared it with me. And
I got it from Ben Gay III. So there we are. See, we keep sharing stuff.
And
right?
it's that shared experience, that shared knowledge, that shared love of what we do in sales in general, that now I pass that on to my sales team. All the way from Ben, all the way to Randy, all the way to Jared, now outward through our sales teams, outward through the people that you coach, mentor, and train, all the people that Ben's had his hands all over the years. And that's the legacy of what we're doing here, right?
Exactly.
Camaraderie. It never goes away. It continues to build. And who knows, there could be a guy in this office or gal in this office that could be the next business owner or the next innovator. And it's my job to make sure that they're taken care of while they're under my care. Right. So
Love it.
that's good,
Jared,
man.
my man, that's
Good stuff.
as always. Thanks for being on. Appreciate you. Hey, go take care of somebody today, man.
I'll do it, man. Thank you
All right,
guys.
brother.
Appreciate
Appreciate
it.
you, buddy. Love you, man. Cheers.
Yeah, love you too, bro. Bye.
All right, buddy. All right, come on. If you don't like the conversation with Jared, you got to wake up, pinch yourself. I don't know, do something. But Jared is the real deal. Follow his podcast, America Builds Better. It's incredible. Great content. Always amazing. Always some great points. I watch everything he does because I always learn something, and I've been doing this forever, and that's key. You always learn something. Anyways, parting words. You know, we just talked about it's live in the industry, not on off the industry, and love what you do what you love, and go make today your best day ever. Until tomorrow. Cheers, my friends.